The events of this video would be a frightening sight to wake up to, especially in a room high enough to have its own balcony. This vacationer took this video at Meeru Resort in the Maldives when the 2004 Boxing Day tsunami came ashore on the tiny island nation, quite literally knocking at his door. The room in question was 10 feet above sea level, while the tsunami wave height in the Maldives ranged from 2 feet to 13 feet in height, a wide range within which almost anything could have happened to the cameraman, his room, and the resort itself. Judging from where the water eventually ends up, this location received the upper end of the tsunami's force as it was experienced in the country, a disaster that left nearly 250,000 people dead across Indian Ocean countries before it was all over. Fundamentally, an earthquake can prove dangerous to people in almost any manner involving the solid portion of the Earth. This footage comes from Taiwan during the magnitude 7.4 earthquake of April 3rd, 2024. 2 cars are proceeding up a winding mountain road as the shaking begins. Each vehicle comes to a quick stop, but as a result of the shaking, a massive boulder tumbles downhill towards the pair of cars after getting dislodged by the quake, putting the occupants in imminent danger of being crushed to death. The first boulder is soon followed by a miniature avalanche of smaller and moderate-sized boulders behind and ahead of the car, narrowly missing it as the driver tries to retreat to any kind of safety. The boulder that impacted the first car seemed to deal only a glancing blow, and nobody was harmed by this particular rockfall. However, 10 of the 18 deaths associated with this quake occurred as a result of similar incidents, and most of these victims lacked even a vehicle for protection or escape. Even in the middle of Tornado Alley, the Nashville tornado of March 2020 was an unpleasant shock to the city's inhabitants, given the fact that it occurred in the middle of the night, in the middle of a large city, and with such severity as it did. The tornado rose to EF3 intensity inside the city itself, and the events shown at this intersection took place only minutes before the tornado reached the pinnacle of its strength, which included winds with top speeds of 165 miles per hour. Scenes like this played out in much of the city, as the darkness and structures kept the tornado from view. In such circumstances, one can't help but pity the especially precarious situation of motorists like those shown driving down the street just ahead of the whirlwind's ballistic entrance, oblivious to what is just out of their sight. However, given that the only vehicle-based deaths in this tornado occurred much further away, one can assume that the drivers in the footage made it out alive. Unfortunately, 5 other people perished in the Nashville tornado, 220 others were hurt, and even then, it was not the most severe tornado of the outbreak. The dashcams on these 2 trucks capture the terrifying speed, scale, and intensity of the 2011 tsunami in Tagajo City, Japan. They also recorded some of the earthquake which preceded the tsunami in the city. The massive wall of water left 177 people dead in Tagajo and reached heights of nearly 5 meters in the port. Elsewhere in Japan, the tsunami waves reached heights almost 10 times greater. Across the east coast of the country, nearly 500,000 vehicles, like those with the dashcam, were wrecked or written off as a result of situations like those in the video. This video was taken during the 2014 Beaver Fire in Northern California, near the state line with Oregon. On August 11th of that year, nearly 2 weeks after the fire began, 3 wildland firefighters were constructing a fire break against the blaze in Klamath National Forest. However, the fire approaches them at an unnerving rate of speed, clearly far more quickly than anticipated. The camera turns off as they prepare to deploy their portable fire shelters behind the truck and under their bulldozer. However, fire shelters are not made to withstand the direct heat of the flames, but to trap breathable oxygen for the person inside them and to reflect the heat of the fire from a distance. They get under their shelters with only seconds to spare, and the inferno that arrived burned around and over them for about 20 minutes before subsiding.
We need to boogie out of here. Hey, Ray, are you on deck? Hey, let me and my engine up. We're good here. We are good. Sergeant, you with us? Yeah, I'm good too with us. We're good. Okay. I'm not sure if we can do anything with this place here. 52, crew 52. Also, it's here. You might want to keep pushing. Engine 52, crew 52. Get to the engine, face to face. Woo! Victor, let's go. That's going to save us, I think, get some heat off of it. Hell, this is nothing. Woo!
After an agonizing 20 minutes, The firemen in this video emerged from their shelters to find that the trees around them had been stripped bare by the flames, and their truck had partially been scorched and melted down. However, the front of the fire had passed, and the air was much cooler and easier to breathe. Needless to say, even a few moments later, the outcome outside of the shelters could easily have been deadly. The fireman operating the bulldozer sustained burn injuries to his legs as he was the last to take cover. All told, over 30,000 acres of wildland were burned by the Beaver Fire before it was declared contained on September 2nd, 2014. This video was shot from Port Fourchon, the southernmost port in the state of Louisiana, when Hurricane Ida made landfall on August 29, 2021. Precariously, the port sits only 1 foot above sea level, which makes it a veritable death trap when a hurricane comes ashore. The storm surge at Port Fourchon, on the other hand, was 8.3 feet tall, backed by sustained winds of up to 150 miles an hour. And not unlike a tsunami, the obstacles in its way could never hope to stand up to the worst of a hurricane. Nate Hewitt and Ryan Chandler recorded this video when an EF4 rated tornado cut a path northeast through the city of Tuscaloosa. The two chasers' enthusiasm soon turned to absolute horror as they realized the tornado was on a collision course for their car's location on the interstate, forcing them to reverse on the highway to avoid being hit. Only a few seconds after they back up, the trees to their left are swallowed up by the visible funnel as the tornado crosses the part of the interstate where they had been driving not long before.
Reminiscent of the outbreaks of the 70s and the super outbreak of 74. So if you're just joining us, it's now we're starting to see the flashes.
There it freaking is. Oh my god. Okay, speed up.
Our company's infrastructure. But again, that is something that you pray that you never, ever see.
Alright, we're coming up. The police department's gonna be up here, so we need to go faster. It's coming right at us. No, keep straight. Yes, keep straight. We can come up behind it later. That thing is...
Jesus Christ.
Go, Chandler.
Jesus.
Never in my life will I see this again.
Oh my God.
Hey, roll down your back window. Yeah, pretty much. But keep going. I would definitely keep going. Chandler, do not go back that way.
Nate, film it.
I am.
There's two of them.
We need to go that way.
No,
Chandler,
we're fine.
God damn it,
We're
go
fine.
back.
We're fine.
Chandler, go the fuck back. I'm not kidding. We don't know if this thing can change directions. We're not experts. It's crossing the interstate right where we were. Oh my God. You can see huge debris. Chandler, chill out for a second. Let's just sit right here. We're good right here.
Shelly's gotta get safe.
Although Nate and Ryan escaped the tornado, many others would not. The tornado had maximum wind speeds of 190 miles per hour, and 64 people would not escape them alive. There would also be over 1,500 injuries associated with the storm, and 1/10 of the city would be laid waste in the disaster. The Hickman Fire that tore through Midland County, Texas, in April 2011 is a largely unknown disaster, but it will almost certainly remain etched into the minds of the firefighters who responded to it. The structure firefighters in the footage were sent to reinforce wildland firefighters already tackling the blaze and to protect properties in the countryside. They battled strong winds, an extremely dry countryside, and a kind of fire that they were not used to fighting in order to do so. Wildfires are typically fought with tactics such as controlled burns, fire breaks, and air tankers, but these firemen had only a few pre-connected water hoses and their fire trucks to help, as the fire threatened to overrun their position on a lone country road. The frantic efforts of the trapped firefighters were just enough to protect their immediate position as the fire burned around them. Apparently, just enough water and foam was applied to the dry grassland with only seconds to spare to keep the flaming front of the fire from burning directly over them. Instead, it burned around their flanks, not far down the road, but thankfully left them unhurt. Elsewhere, 18,000 acres and 42 buildings were burned by the inferno, but thanks to their last-ditch efforts, the firefighters in this video avoided becoming casualties themselves by a matter of moments. It was the worst wildfire in the history of Midland County. As far as record-breaking death and destruction go for such a comprehensive disaster, Miyako City was the epicenter of the catastrophic tsunami that impacted eastern Japan on March 11, 2011. Generated by a magnitude 9 earthquake, the strongest in the country's history, the tsunami raised water levels in the city's port to a staggering 38 meters, or 124 feet above sea level, the highest point reached by the tsunami waters during the disaster. 10% of the city's population perished or went missing as the floodwaters overcame Miyako. In addition, 4,000 buildings were ripped off their foundations, crushed in place, or carried out to sea by the flooding. And of 960 ships in the city's port when the tsunami made landfall, only 60 could be salvaged when the tsunami's time was done. This video was taken towards the end of the Joplin Missouri EF5 tornado, the deadliest tornado of the 21st century thus far. Even at this late point in its life cycle, however, it remained extremely dangerous, dealing EF2, EF3, and pockets of EF4 rated damage as it approached Interstate 44 on the east end of the city. The trucker who filmed this video was confronted with a severe twister whose existence he claimed to be unaware of at the time. The video starts with the clouds having a darkish gray color, like many thunderstorms, but over the next 3 minutes they become a deep, threatening indigo blue, as dark as night. The transition from daylight to nearly complete darkness in such a short period of time is spine-crawling to behold. Eventually, the rain, darkness, and stopped traffic force the driver to stop his truck under an overpass. Just then, the tornado arrives on the interstate.
Here we go again. Oh gosh,